for this very interesting first module on risk assessment. Floris, over to you on nature-based solutions.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will share my screen. Likewise. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I put a poll there that we did in the beginning. Sorry, my name is Floris Boogaard, colleague of Hans at Deltares, and work a lot with climate adaptation, especially nature-based solutions, as you can see from my T-shirt. So you don't get confused where the topic is about during this phase. Also, nature-based solution for infrastructure. Behind me, you see an airport in St. Lucia with gray. You see blue and green, and that's one of the topics. I will show a lot of examples, which has been asked for because nature-based solutions has a lot of aspects that we can talk about. But I'm glad there's a lot of interest, 58%, as you can see here. Again, so this is the second part. We heard Hans about risk. Now we go to nature-based solutions, and next is governance and finance. Nature-based solutions, a lot of examples. I hope to keep it practical, not too much science, but know that I will give a lot of information where you can use tools or find more information on your specific task or challenge, so to say. So, and as Rainer said, please share your examples. I also show a tool where you can, well, have your specific situation, challenges, and solutions that we can learn about together. So, nature-based solutions, I will talk a bit about cost and benefits. Of course, that's quite important. Lovely question on risk assessment, how much that costs. And of course, nature-based solutions, it's the same. And there are key aspects for implementation, long-term efficiency, which has to do with maintenance, also addressed by Hans shortly. Show you case studies from all around the world. It was very nice to see in the chat where you're all from. It's really all around the world. So, the sources where you can find more information and tools. So, just as an introduction, and of course, you probably know this, but there are different definitions on nature-based solutions. It's very good to speak the same language. So, nature-based solutions are actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore natural and modified ecosystems in ways that address societal challenges effectively and adaptively, to provide both human well-being and biodiversity benefits. And especially that last part is the cohesion between nature, as in nature-based solutions, and humans, of course. So, as said, there are a lot of different definitions, but basically it's about challenges, urban challenges, rural challenges, of course, as well. Mainly are used floods, as indicated by Hans as well, but also water quality or heat stress or drought or a lot of other challenges, of course, that will be a part of this presentation. Because challenges, flood, cyclones, drought, heat waves, wildfires, snow hazards, in the presentation, also in the report that I'll show later, you will find that there are a lot of challenges, of course, specifically for infrastructure. And infrastructure is also not the same. It could be linear, it could be point, it could be wide areas. So it's quite a complex situation, as you can imagine. And of course, these challenges can, as within flooding, rain flooding, river flooding, it can all come together. So some situations, this is a situation in the Philippines, for example, where a lot of hazards have taken place simultaneously. So, and first we have to know that probably because of longer dry periods, more intensive rainfall, these occurrences will be higher. We also keep up more land, so that's logically that we were more effective with more people. And so the first thing we have to notice, and sometimes we have to accept, because there's always that possibility of that we don't have space, that we don't have budget or capacity to implement nature-based solutions. So starting with that. But of course, now we're talking about implementations. So here are some things you can do already, nature-based solutions, specifically to a hazard, but most of the nature-based solutions are multifunctional. So they use a lot of resources and also a lot of benefits. So it's quite a complex situation, as you can see here, and I will show more examples. Hans showed you some models on flooding, but for nature-based solutions, mostly it's also about heat modeling, or it's about water quality monitoring. It's with different data that you can use, like INSAR data, if it's about subsidence. And so this is a long list of things that you can actually model. Also, maybe things you didn't think about. You could use social media for models, but also monitor water quality in very detail, mobility in your city, which can be a nuisance. Pollution could be water and also air. So a lot of nature-based solutions can be an answer to these challenges. So just an example, this is a heat stress map of Johannesburg in Africa. You see that mostly in the urban dense area without green and blue I mean water, you can have very high temperatures in the urban area, and well, it could be fatal, as you can see. One of the solutions, of course, there's not a lot of space, there's not a lot of budget in this case as well, and sometimes less capacity. It's greening cities. So that's a very important task in nature-based solutions, as I will show later. Then another different part of Africa, Mali in this case, water quality was really of the essence. And then also the approaches are very different. Of course, you can see what kind of contaminants are in the water. You can do that, but by high tech measures. Also a report for CDRI, the emerging technologies with 3D and underwater drones and a lot of sensors. But of course, here I will keep to some of the approaches that are low tech, that don't need a lot of budget and could be placed everywhere. And actually, the results of this study was room for the river, a method that I will speak to later. So greening cities, I already said, this is spons cities, maybe a park in Singapore in this case. What you can see is that it was lined, a concrete channel, because then the water flows very quickly. But of course, that can induce floodings as well, because there's a fast discharge. And now a lot of these concrete channels, that's also about flood mitigation, as you can see, are now being meandered and taking place to a natural course. That's basically a nature-based solution. It's for biodiversity, but also about flood mitigation, because you can hold back the water and you have more room for the river, basically. So that's one of the nature-based solutions. But mostly it's also a combination of these two. You can have gray infrastructure and you can have green, and it's never totally green. It's never totally hybrid. Even in things like bioswales, there's a lot of drainage or gray infrastructure. So if we talk about flood walls, they're really gray, of course. To maybe greening cities, there's a whole spectrum in the middle. And sometimes then we talk about hybrid solutions, which is basically an assembly of gray and green, you could say. And there's a lot of solutions, as you can see. There's also categorization in families, so that has mostly to do where you are. So depending on if you're a coastal city, you might have mangroves, wetlands, which you don't have high up in the hills, for example. So this starts with urban forest, which is more on the higher grounds, for example, and then terraces and slopes takes you down, and then you have more urban or rural situations where you have, for example, bioretention areas. And bioretention could be constructed wetlands, that could be rain gardens, that could be bioswales or swales without the nature-based element in it. So there's a lot of distinctions. So talking about families, as the World Bank did in 2021, might help. But most of the challenge is, of course, to see the challenge and see what kind of nature-based solutions would fit your situation. And that's where the second parts of this presentation will be about, and also the tools that you can use. So some takeaways from the first part. We've seen various hazards. That means various nature-based solutions, so to say. It's really about cross-sectoral approach. So it's not about gray pipes anymore. It's also about greening and blue, and you need people from policy and also the maintenance. So it's really working together with a lot of organizations. So the governance part is very important. We've seen it's not only nature-based, it's sometimes more grayish. And it really depends on the people or the definition that you sometimes have about nature-based solutions, also the measures. So speak the same language, I would say. Then some examples. One of the examples, which is widely recognized, of course, is coastal greening, which is existing in the form of wetlands, maybe, or mangroves. As you can see here, this is an example of Indonesia, and of course, you have to cherish this because it's very hard to make this your own. Because in the world, a lot of nature-based solutions are already present, but they are being removed because we want to use that space or we don't like it. So, and if we then realize that we actually needed that for coastal protection, or we are more at risk, as you could see in the last presentation of Hans, then you start to plant mangroves. And I can tell you, this is not easy. It's done all over the world, but it takes decades to find a very nature-based solution that can protect you, coastal floodings, for example. And so be very cherish what you have, I would say, because you can have this nature-based solution. It's not easy to replant, so to say. Also for wetlands, of course, large wetlands, yeah, a lot of parts of the world are being protected by these natural assets, so to say. And you can, of course, make them stronger with some gray elements or nature elements and be very protected of them, I would say. Also, another example, West Africa. This is more where people come into place. It's about the sandbar breakwaters, sand engine, also called. It's actually more places in the world, also in the Netherlands where I live. So this is in Nigeria, for example, that sand is being moved to make a stronger coastline, and that can protect you during hazards, so to say. So, and this is you see that the red block is just one of the block in one of the documents that I will show later, where you can find over 100 case studies. So I will show you where you can find. If we those were large scale nature-based solutions, and there's also a lot of small scale but could be large. This is a bioswale, for example. As you can see, it's quite large scale. That could be very lots smaller, and this is really about water retention in urban areas. It's about infiltrating to the groundwater. So basically it's a solution for drought and also flooding. And of course you see the trees that align with the bioswale, which is more about heat. And you can see that it's also used for recreation. People be there, sit on a bench, or children play, and it's a lot more fun if there's water in it, of course. So it has a multi-purpose area, which is basically not a very expensive one or difficult one. You just lower the grass instead of the gray, what you can see a road and some houses here. So and also, which is especially in a lot of countries that you are from, water quality problems arise. This could be a purification method as well. It's basically a soil filter, so to say. There's drainage underneath, so for clean water. And these have been applied all over the world, some cities more and more. These are some of the first rain gardens in Jakarta, for example, a city with a lot of subsidence. So you have to keep peat levels wet so they don't oxidize, for example. So it's very nice. This is the other side of the world. This is in Suriname. You see bioswales being made. And the message here for is it's not very difficult. It's basically moving soil around, and of course there's a lot of science to it, but keep it simple would be my guess. And also share these examples. This is a form of climate scan where you can find and put your own examples and put a lot of data. This is one of the monitored bioswales in the world, which could be a nice example. So it's nice to know the infiltration values, who was involved, what is the governance, how do people like it. So there's a lot to talk about, so to say. Also, because it's mostly about infrastructure, you have in the city, of course, parking areas. You have where you can find these biofiltration that looks like this. That could be totally green, so that could be a rain garden or bioswale, but also thermal pavement, for example, considered to be a nature-based solution. But of course, it's really on the gray side, I would say. You have the grass-filled pavers, which is a kind of nature thermal pavement, but as you can see here, it could be totally a pavement. And these have a maintenance problem, the clog, so it needs maintenance And if you don't have the budget for the maintenance, maybe you shouldn't do these nature-based solutions because they will clog and then infiltrate less, maybe even the same as regular pavement, which is in most cases even cheaper. Greening the city is about walls, as you can see here. Walls can be found all over the place. It looks very nice, as you can see here. Pillars are being greened. That's in Mexico. That's in Indonesia. You can find that all over the world, as in China, for example. Even flats, as you can see here. Apartment. This is Bosco Verticale. Deliberately not a very nice picture. This is more in drought, as you can see, because there's of course attention that also green also needs water, and sometimes you're in a dry situation. If that's your challenge, maybe you shouldn't do this too much, because of course a lot of drinking water in this case is being used. No rainwater harvesting here. But the example of heat stress prevention, that's where it's about, you can see is taken up all over the world. And you can see a lot of green forests. And it's lovely, of course, to see this. And it's really, greening cities, literally, I would say, which is quite a difficult task. And one of the key messages, because it's all very nice, but think about maintenance. As you can see, this guy here, a mountaineer, has to climb a lot to keep everything wet for irrigation, but also maybe making sure that no trees will come and maybe damage the sidewalks. But these are very effective for heat stress, for example, and it could be even used for water quality improvement. So green roofs, you see a picture in the middle, which is one of my favorite green roofs in Africa. It's a grass roof, so it really is about the sponge cities. And of course, in Singapore, you can find a lot of knowledge about. So it's everywhere, applied everywhere. Some countries have more than others, like Norway, very in the north. It makes a lot of sense there. But it's about water storage. It's about urban heat. So there's a lot of even recreation. You can be on the roofs, and you have also roofs that are smart roofs that listen to the weather forecast, and if it's going to rain, they will discharge the water so it infiltrates to the ground, and then it can absorb more water. So there are a lot of types of blue roofs, green roofs, a lot of types you can imagine, of course. And you can find them again all over the world. Also, green on roofs, which is not necessarily green roof, but as you can see here in Vietnam, lovely things here. You already saw this picture, of course. It's also about knowing how the water will rise and how you can keep your feet dry. And sometimes that's on poles, that might be amphibious housing, that could be floating houses. And of course, every city has a mixture of a lot of these measures that you can find. So in every city, and this is a climate scan, you can go to your region, climatescan.org, and see what kind of nature-based solutions are out there. It's just an inventory of people that want to share their projects. And this is Suriname, for example, but you can find it everywhere. Some nature-based solutions are really about the infrastructure. These are gully-free roads. That basically is the road, is the discharge of the water. It's cheaper also in maintenance, and it can hold a lot of water, as you can see on the left, which is a rainwater event of 60 millimeters an hour. So that's substantially discharged. And on the right, you see a canal which is being opened. It was a road. It used to be a canal, actually, in the old days when we did everything on boats in a lot of regions in the world. Then the car came, then we made roads. And of course, these roads mostly flooded because the water initially in history were drawn there. And now opening canals could be a very nice nature-based solutions to store the water again and discharge the water if needed. And also roundabouts, talking about infrastructure, mostly they are not hollow, but you can make them hollow. There's a lot of water you can store. So even underground subsurface storage of water. So roundabouts could be nice, and even floating roads, as you can see here through. That could be something we will see more in the future. And sometimes in the urban area, you don't have a lot of space, but they go deeper underground and have a lot of storage on the underground section, or even the parking garage. It's as here in Rotterdam, it's 10,000 cubic meters of storage, and you can reuse it in the building as well. So that will be something that we can see more. And some of the things that I see in my own environment. These are water squares, not very difficult as well. It's squares, don't make them higher, so the water comes from the square to the houses, but make them lower, so it will retain water for a certain time, and you can discharge it or reuse it. So just a spectrum of a lot of nature-based solutions that I show you here in the urban case, coastal, and also rural. So key takeaways, there's a large variety. Actually, if you see the long list on Climate Scanner or other tools, there are more than 100 types of nature-based solutions that you can choose from. There's innovating, or we call them innovating. It could be innovating for one country. It could be conventional nature-based solutions in another. Different types have, of course, different costs, also different benefits. We'll explore that a bit more in the next session. And MBS can be in every scale. So the large mangroves, wetlands to very small, maybe parking spaces. So there's a wide spectrum of what you can do. Implementation of MBS is quite important, very difficult sometimes as well. So we try to make it simple. A simple approach is analyzing, as you can see at Hans as well, analyze the flood and then set an ambition. That could be a certain amount of rainfall that you want to store, reuse, or a hazard that you want to prevent with a certain occurrence. And of course, it's about action. You don't have to do that necessarily in that order. You could also see if a nature-based solution would fit and learn from it. So there's a cycle, of course, that you can go around. But still, analyzing, those are the models that we talked about for flooding. We'll not explore it more, but you can imagine that depending on your challenge, it could be water quality or heat stress or different challenges, you need different models and different approach, as you can see from the examples that I showed in Johannesburg and also in Mali. So the ambition is something you have to do together with organizations that are affected, of course, on the hazards. So that could be municipalities, that could be residents of the area, it could be the higher government, of course. Also, water flows over countries, so it could be international. It really depends on where you want to be setting your ambitions. And ambitions is not only 60 millimeters on flooding, it's also about heat. How much trees do you actually want, or what is your quality? What are your concentrations that you allow for BOD or other concentration that you're worried about? So it's quite a complex situation, of course. And you have a lot of tools seeing what kind of nature-based solutions. See here a table with a lot of examples that you can use on the map and make it practical, I would say, those ambitions. So, and action is performing it, and but also evaluation and monitoring. So this is an example of evaluation of nature-based solutions, in this case in Canada, where a lot of people came because they wanted to see if it actually works. And if they see something work because you flood it, one of my hobbies, I flooded a lot of bioswales and permeable pavement, and sometimes it doesn't work, and that's very learningful. And if you see a lot of people from municipalities and water authority, and you see that the water doesn't disappear, infiltrate, maybe you shouldn't choose that nature-based solution. You better choose one first, try it out, and if it doesn't work, change it, optimize it, because there's also a reason, of course, for it, and try to figure out what nature-based solutions of the long list of 100 would fit your situation. So, cost, very difficult topic, but also always a question, of course, how much does it cost? It's very difficult to ballpark 16 euros 45 cents for the connected area to a bioswale, for example. But you can see, of course, that some of the nature-based solutions that only use earthwork, like a bioswale, are of course cheaper than maybe constructed wetlands that have more pipes to use or even pumps. And so of course you can choose your nature-based solutions to your budget, so to say. And that's maybe also what I can say about it. Most important is not only the cost. Mostly, if you have a hazard, there's more cost to clean everything up, so to say. So it's good to make an investment. Also see what co-benefits are. And co-benefits are, of course, the hazard that you want to less heat stress, less flooding, etc. But maybe also community cohesion. A lot of nature-based solutions is sometimes about urban farming, so it's also about food. It's about people working together. It's about air quality. It's about more than only these. And these are very hard to put in numbers. That's why it's here. Yes, maybe it really depends on the situation, of course. But know that there's a long list of nature-based solutions, also a long list of nature uh, benefits, and especially nature itself. Of course, you can see the butterflies, maybe or the bees, as an yeah, indication of that we're doing our work right. So for this section, keep it simple. I know I say also it's complex and large to choose from, but analyze. So what information is available, what is lacking, find an ambition. Where are you satisfied? Also, it's adaptation. So you cannot rule the world. You should adapt to a certain situation. Maybe accept that there might be water or a bit heat in some regions because you don't have the budget or the space or the capacity to do it. And of course, action. And as I said, don't wait too long. Maybe try something out and learn by doing, so to say. Co-benefits, very important. Know that if you build it, you also have to maintain it. Otherwise, you might not even start with it. So that needs capacity, of course, and also a bit budget. So, and every situation is different. So that's already tapping into challenges. We want to give an honest story and not only show beautiful pictures on how it looks. As gray infrastructure, as in your situation now, everything needs maintenance. The problem is new. Sometimes we don't know what to do. Sometimes we think we don't have the budget, but basically choosing for green and gray, it doesn't have to cost more. You could face your challenges maybe even with more benefits and even less cost, but it's a different approach. So you need to teach people. You need to reserve budget and capacity and work together, of course, with green, blue, and the policy, and also all the organization involved. So the governance is quite important here. You see some nature-based solutions that are quite old and might have some challenge in the future. Maladaptation takes place as well. I can say as a researcher that I'm really proud of a lot of nature-based solutions and a lot of benefits they have, and people that are very satisfied with it. But of course, there could be effects that you don't count on, or that could be if you infiltrate stormwater, which most of the people think wastewater is not clean and rainwater is very clean. But of course, there's also heavy metals involved, and those could be going to your deeper layers. That could be maladaptation. So think about your situation and see if there's any possible effects because of maybe poor design, but also lack of maintenance, or it's good to think about it. So just a bit of a warning in the sense of being an honest story, that a lot of the situation, it goes quite well, but other locations there might be effects, and that's also in the MOOC and the report. Know that it's not like a gray pipe that stays always the same. This is a bioswale. You can see in time it changes. And in the beginning, there's a different perception of that nature-based solutions than in the end, which does not occur mostly with a gray pipe that stays the same. So know that time is a very of the difference. You have to know rehabilitation techniques. There's a lot of information about it as well. It's just a small percentage of places that go wrong or situations that go wrong, but know that, think about it. And of course, monitoring itself. I told you already, one of my hobbies is testing these bioswales and seeing if the water actually disappears. And you see more people than me there. So this is actually a very small climate cafe, but a lot of people come out and see what is useful. And of course, also new colleagues that you need involve education instead of research. You see a lot of students in these floodings, etc. That could be useful. Maintenance, a lot of information about it. I promise you some of the literature that you can use. And so there's a lot of information there. And of course, the challenges, different challenges are being addressed, and also some of the success or advice that you can use with this MBS and what kind of MBS you could choose. And also there's guidance and the Green Action Roadmap, because it depends on what kind of information or organization you are and where you stand. So here's a checklist of some questions that you can ask yourself or your organization to see if you are on the right level or where do you need more knowledge, I would say. So next part is case studies, but Raina, you want
Um,
to come in and say I'm too late or
no, Flores,
no?
maybe in
Oh,
another 3, 4 minutes. So then we have some
yeah.
time for the interaction as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Rounding up. Yeah, sure. So I promised you case studies. I already showed a lot of case studies, so I could be very quick. In the report and also the MOOC, there are case studies all around the world. Know that it's available, as you can see here, a lot in the Global South. So some of the maps are already mentioned, but there are over 1,000 case studies selected where you can find. It's not about one solution, as I say. So the green roof again that I love. This is only in Johannesburg. Know that every city is different. Johannesburg has a lot to do with water demand. Also Cape Town, of course, with day zero. We can learn a lot from it. And these analyzation, what you can see here about water demand, is mostly about sharing your good examples from around the world. This is the map you can use and go to your specific situation and share your knowledge. Because every city is basically different, as you can see here. You could compare Johannesburg with Rotterdam or St. Lucia or Mali or those things. Promised you a roadmap, analyze, ambition, action, as I showed before. These are some readiness questions to see where you are and some advice to evaluate, of course, as well. There are some examples as well. Room for the River is one of the programs being used all around the world. It's quite logical. Make room for the river. And these are the different questions and answers to those questions that you could use. And this is all in a report. You see the QR code here about nature-based solutions if you haven't seen it yet. So it could be very useful for further reading, I would say. And the last slide is the conclusion. I just hope that you found more understanding of nature-based solutions, also speak the same language, definitions that you saw. That it's a really broad spectrum. There are over 100 in the enclosure of the report. You can see the whole list. Cost and benefits, brushed on that. Very important topic, of course. A key aspect for implementation. We tell a very honest story. It's not going right, as in gray infrastructure, but you have to take care of it. A lot of case studies to choose from, and of course a roadmap to see how you are standing or what you need. But that will be the discussion in the last minutes of this seminar, I would say. So thank you so much, and I will stop sharing. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Flores. I will request Noni to again, project the questions for this segment. And while participants take the time to respond, Flores, there are a couple of questions for you. One on the Q&A box,
All
and
right.
then another one which has just been posted on the chat box, I see.
Okay.
Maybe I can read it out for you. So
Yeah,
we
because
have
I was
a
presenting. I haven't read them.
Yes, I'll do
That
that.
will be
So we have a
multitasking. Yeah.
question from India, from I think this is from India. Bhavani Shankar Nawal is asking, if NBS are more effective and low cost, then why do organizations and governments are going to technology-based questions? A tricky one.
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, of course, it always depends on the situation, but if you analyze it, probably have your ambition and good action, it would be more efficient and it would be lower cost. And again, it will depend. But why don't people massively go to green infrastructure or nature-based solutions? Yeah, it's the unknown. Mostly, what is being used as a top three is that they think it will cost more. And of course, cost is quite a difficult topic. It's not only about designing them and implementing them, but also maintaining them. So that there's you need capacity for that. So this is the second. So the knowledge level, but we work on that with the MOOC and also the report, I would say. And of course, the scarcity of space in urban areas is being, we cannot do that. We have to do underground basins because it's nice floors, all those bioswales and rain gardens and constructed wetland, but we need the space in the area. And of course, that's a valid point. But a lot of parks haven't addressed that, but could be changed to nature-based solutions. So, for flooding. So I hope, that this will be more mainstream, and it does. You can see nature-based solutions really, literally popping up in cities and also coastlines. So I have to be very positive that we change the world. Yeah, no pressure there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Floris. And we have one more question that I want to pose to you. But for the benefit of participants, you can see the Zoom poll and questions on your screen. There are, again, similar to the last segment, there are four multiple choice questions that we would like you to answer. And then the fifth question, again, is an open-ended question. And we really want to hear from you on, the examples from your cities. What are the kind of co-benefits that you are, already seeing as part of nature-based solutions that you are implementing? So please do respond to the questions. And in the meantime, I will again pose the second question to you, Floris. This is coming from Ambika Dabral. She's asking, could you share a successful case of effective monitoring and evaluation of NBS that one could refer to? This is often the most undermined aspect at the local level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm glad this was in the presentation as well. Yeah, of course, there's a long, there are a lot of projects that are being monitored. So I think one of the things that come to mind might be the Room for the River. That also shows that monitoring is quite complex, because what are we monitoring? What was it a solution for? This is of course about flood. It's about humans. It's about nature, of course. So a lot of monitoring has been taking place on flood reduction, which is relatively sorry if Hans gets mad, but that might be the easy part, because you know how it affects. You can see how discharge is changing. A big problem is that rivers flow through communities, and the social aspects of acceptance monitoring, it might be even the most difficult one, and also undermined one. I would say I've visited places where Room for the River should take place because a lot of grey flood walls are being made. There was a lot of anger, actually, because you think you do the right thing, maybe making a flood wall was not my idea, by the way, but it's being done all over the world, and sometimes it has a bit of a fake security, because in some locations you actually narrow the river. There's more pressure to it, and if the wall falls in a certain place, you can see there's a lot more damage than let the river take their natural course. But of course, that you don't want, because casualty comes. So to monitor that or evaluate what in a wide stretch as a Room for the River, that's very difficult, but it has been done in the Netherlands and other places as well. That could be a very good example. Not to give a long answer, but that monitoring is very difficult. I think you should do the social aspects and also the technical aspects. And that's not being done in a lot of case studies. So I would share maybe the monitoring of nature, Room for the River programs that have a lot of elements that you probably can use in the monitoring of your specific NBS. And if you go to small scale, it's a bit more easier. A bioswale, which is just in one person's backyard, or than the bigger projects, I would say. Yeah. And mangroves are being monitored quite well as well, being now park and forests to keep the water in, but also the multi benefits, again, social and technical. Yeah, I hope that answer helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Thank you, Flores. And I just want to mention, because I think there was another some related question earlier from the participants about, the interagency coordination, the role of, institutions and governance aspects. So we did respond on the chat box as well, but we would urge the participants to also check out the working paper, the nature-based solution working paper that Floris showed you, and the Global Infrastructure Resilience Report 2025 of CDRI, because it looks at institutional readiness on NBS, but also, in terms of overall governance aspects when it comes to resilience planning, specifically in the context of infrastructure. So that's a very, very useful, checklist, and several case studies, including Floris, like you said, on mangroves coming in from the Sundarbans Delta in India. So these
Yeah.
are very, very useful resources that you would want to check. And with that, maybe Noni, if you're ready, you want to project the responses from the questions. Can we have the
Is it
responses to the Zoom questions?
is it visible right now? I've just shared the result.
I can't view them on my screen.
No, I don't see them as well.
Yeah.
Let me just share my screen.
Yeah, sure. I think, yes, that will be helpful.
Nice.
Yes, we can see it now. Actually, Noni, not on your screen. I think it's okay, it's gone now.
I see the results, but maybe we can scroll up to the first
Yes.
for everyone to see the results. We already see what kind of hybrid solutions people are familiar with. So the green roofs, the permeable pavement, a bit less the hollow roads or others, for example. So indeed, green roof, permeable pavement, also biofiltration are being used a lot. And of course, being seen in the urban area, so most people know that. And maybe we can go up, Noni?
You can scroll through the answers yourself, Floris. In the window.
Sorry, I thought it was I thought that was sharing the screen. All right. Okay. Yeah, great. All right. Thanks, Hans. Very helpful. Yeah. So challenges, flood, yeah, drought, heat stress. That's actually compulsory in a lot of countries as well. So that's the top three, I would say. And also landslide is quite high. And of course, that's not a challenge that we have in every country, as in the Netherlands, for example, being very flat. But and of course, other answers could be volcanoes even and other geohazards. And but this is quite an extensive list already. And then the second one, the nature-based solutions come with cost and benefits. What co-benefits apply to your situation? This question was, of course, to ask to see co-benefits are a bit underlined. Reducing cost, very nice, and as discussed, complex situation, but indeed it could be better and less cost with design, implementation, also the maintenance. Improve water and air quality. Nice that that has such a high score of almost 70%, because not a lot of people realize that, but lately air quality also in America, Canada, because of forest fires, and you really need you don't want to be in a gray low environment because of air quality, and a lot of fine dust and health problems are taking place because of that. So water quality we saw in the presentation as well. Heat stress, big topic now in a lot of cities, a lot of people, a lot of casualties for that. So we really have to green cities, or more green and blue will reduce heat stress in cities. So, and the community cohesion, nice that it has a nice score as well, because most of the nature-based solutions you adapt with your community, right? With stakeholders. It's mainly also about governance, and and meeting your neighbors, so to say, to feel safe and also be in a healthy area. So, and then the last, because I already addressed the third one, the fourth, what are the categories of nature-based solutions from examples? So bioretention that we talked about, green corridors, very nice examples, by the way, in Brazil that I didn't show, but they're absolutely lovely. Constructor inland wetlands, very nice. Mangroves that we talked about, all of the above, 77%. And indeed, it's not only about one solution. Of course, in the urban area, it's better actually to have a wide variety. Also with nature-based solution, vegetation, don't bet on one type of tree, have variation. So when drought kicks in, or also with nature-based solutions, you have other nature-based solutions to rely upon. So yeah, and the rest is open. So yeah, very happy with the answers. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Flores, Hans, and Noni, for that excellent, session today. And I would really want to thank all the participants as well on behalf of CDRI. This was a very, very insightful session for us as well, hearing from you, all the responses that you have shared. I saw a lot of conversation was also happening on the chat box. A lot of participants were providing their inputs, responding to a lot of questions that were being posed by other participants. So that was really, really great to see. I just want to say that, we have noted all your inputs. We have, of course, noted your responses. Like we mentioned earlier, these are going to be extremely helpful for us as we continue to strengthen the modules. And also, as a lot of you who were there in the last webinar also know that we are planning in-person trainings later in the year in different regions who are joining us at this time. So with that, we close today's session, and we look forward to seeing you all back on the 31st of July. You are also most welcome to share the webinar details with your colleagues who you think would be interested to know more about this module, who would be interested to know more about finance and governance aspects. And thank you very much once again, and have a good rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.